What is going on out there, everybody? Episode number 13 of the All Around Sports Podcast with your host, Jim McAllister. It's been a long time. Too long, actually. Well, you can blame my job, actually. That's pretty much what you can blame. But, nothing bad. It's just, I've been busy. It's the end of the year. I mean, well, actually, I just shouldn't say that. It's the end of the summer. So, we're busy. We're running around and we're doing stuff and, trying to, make the public happy, I guess. And just when that happens, I'm working a lot. I'm, still a husband. I'm still a father. I can't, neglect that, obviously. So certain things kind of have to go, on standby, I guess, for lack of a better term. So, unfortunately, we really couldn't record as much as I would like, but here we are. And here's where we're going to be. So, we're back. Episode 13. Unbelievable. And football season. It's here. 2 days away, man. 2 days away. As we're recording this, it's Tuesday night, so I have the Met game on in the corner here. So, Lindor just hit his 30th home run, which is amazing. I mean, this is probably going to be the best version of Francisco Lindor you're going to see. I mean, if Ohtani wasn't doing crazy things like he's doing right now, he's the MVP of the league. I mean, that's how good he's been. So I have nothing bad to say about Francisco Lindor. How can you? And listen, the Mets are on a roll. So let's hope the positive momentum continues. But this show is not going to be about baseball. It's going to be about football. And rightfully so. All football. But we talk a lot about the NFL. So Nick's going to join us. Nick Rosselli, my main man, my right-hand man. He's going to be here. We're going to talk about, we're going to kind of cram everything all into one. As much as we wanted to kind of separate everything, we kind of had to do everything, together. So we did. And we're going to, talk about the divisions we haven't hit. We're obviously going to talk about the NFC East, which is, our bread and butter because of the Giants and the Eagles. And we're going to, have some predictions. So we're looking forward to that. High school football started. I know, a bunch of, teams have already kicked off. So, I'm going to try and get my, behind out there to go see everybody and go kind of, watch some games and see how things are going. Obviously, there's teams you're going to root for more than others, but, that's, rather here nor there. Got some college, bunch of college things going on. Notre Dame, big win the other night against Texas A&M, I thought was huge. I think that's going to be their, propel to, I think they get in the college football playoff, to be completely honest. I think that win kind of sets them on a path that I don't see how they can't. Let's put it that way. Also, I mean, Florida State's done, after that game. And don't sleep on Boston College. Bill O'Brien's building something over there. Like, that's a good team, They might be like, sneaky, low-key, like, they might be in the ACC championship game against Miami kind of good. Like, I think they're that good. And I know it's one game, but you don't want to get crazy. But I like the coach. I've always liked O'Brien as a head coach, honestly. I mean, look what he did in Houston. Look what he did in Penn State. Like, how does this guy not get the New England job? Hey, that's on them. So we got that. A good game this weekend, too. I'll be locked into Colorado, Nebraska, because to me, that's just like two, like, old school, really good powerhouse teams from, like, the late 80s, early 90s, Nebraska, they got Rule as their coach, new quarterback, and obviously Colorado with everything they bring. So that'll be fun to watch. I'm looking forward to that. And then Sunday, baby. First week of NFL. And listen, let's not forget about Thursday and Friday, too. We got Thursday, we got Kansas City and Baltimore. Friday, we got Green Bay and the Eagles from Brazil, of all places. Like, we're going to be loaded. It's going to be football heavy. Not only that, the fall's coming. I can actually come into here in the All Around Sports Podcast studios and not sweat to death, which is kind of nice. Not going to lie, it's kind of fun. And away we go. So without further ado, let's get to Nick Rosselli. But before that, what we got to talk about, right? We got to talk about our sponsors. We got to talk about our sponsors. Jump Shot Gym, a one-of-a-kind training basketball facility located in beautiful Hillsborough, New Jersey, with 8 hoops and the Dr. Dish shooting machines, okay? Get those consistent reps you need to build that jump shot. Visit jumpshotgym.com. One more time, jumpshotgym.com. Basketball season's right around the corner, guys. So you know what? You got to start getting those reps in now. Jumpshotgym.com. Please check them out over there. They're amazing people. Please, again, one more time. jumpshotgym.com for information on shooting clinics, camps, and parties. Brazino Home Improvements, or if you're looking for any type of home or business repair, please contact Brazino Home Improvements at 609-581-5848. Once again, 609-581-5848. 609-581-5848. If you'd like to do business with me, sponsor the show, whatever you want to do, it's jm14productions@gmail.com. jm14productions@gmail.com. Shoot me a line there. And also follow us on Instagram at jm14 all around pod. One more time, jm14 all around pod. All right, guys, let's get to it. NFL, baby. Nick Griselli joins the show. Let's go. All right, everybody, we are back here on the All Around, and it is that time once again to welcome in my man, who was just at my house a couple days ago doing our family fantasy football draft. That was it's quite interesting. You know, my son Logan stole the show, but that's another story for another day. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, one of my favorite people in this world, my co-host, Nicholas Griselli. Nick, been too long, dude. We should have done this a lot sooner, but blame my job.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I'm glad to finally do it and give off these predictions and for these divisions.
Yeah, we got a lot to go for. We got a lot going on. All right, so let's do this. All right, let's start where we said we were going to start, which is the NFC South.
South, yeah.
So I think obviously Atlanta's the class of the division. I mean, they've definitely improved. They've retooled. They've done everything they possibly can do, and then some to make them better. With also even firing their coach, hiring Raheem Morris, and then bringing an offensive coordinator in, which I think is actually going to run the ball. So there's no reason for them not to win 12 games.
Yeah, I think Atlanta easily wins the division. They're going to be a 9+ win team, 10+. I can see 12, 11. But they're going to be a really good team. Easy division. I mean, they should – and they finished like really low in the division last year. Or what was it, second, third? So their schedule's going to be a little easier. Yeah, they should just be the best team in that division, clearly. I think they are on paper, and I think they will be the best team.
I happen to agree with you 100% on all of it. I mean, they're class, dude. I mean, you look at the rest of the teams in that division, right? Carolina's rebuilding. I mean, they got a chance. People are kind of picking them to be good. I don't see it. I mean, I mean, Bryce Young has really got to take a major step forward, and I don't think that's happening. You figure, what am I forgetting now?
Saints,
the Saints.
I mean, Bucks. I mean,
yeah. Well, the Bucks are pretty good. You know what they are? They're okay. Yeah. I like Mayfield. Always have. I mean, even back to his Oklahoma days, I always liked him. I like Mike Evans. I mean, Mike Evans is a stud wide receiver. He can be in the Hall of Fame. I think he's that good.
Yeah, he gets 1,000 yards every year.
Yeah, and you figure the Saints are not as good as years past. Obviously, they're kind of in a weird phase. The Saints, like they want to be good, but they're not that good. Like they spend a lot of money on guys that probably aren't going to give you what you think they would give you. Like to me, Derek Carr's washed. Like he's
yeah, I'm not a fan of him anymore.
No, same. No. I think he's done. I think they got to literally blow the whole thing up and start over. But that's again, we'll see what happens with that. All right, dude, let's go to the West. I think the West is interesting. I really do.
I think it is too, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's start at the top. San Francisco. They're going to win the division, in my opinion. I think that they're obviously the talent is there. They're a really, really good regular season team. They've always have been. I mean, you've had their instances in the playoffs where they've gotten to the Super Bowl, but they can't win the Super Bowl. I like Shanahan, but I don't like him in a big game. I think, on paper, they have one of the best rosters in football. And this is probably the last year they have until they got to pay Purdy. So it's now or never for them. And honestly, I think it's never because I don't think they're getting there yet. Just, I think they'll win the division, but I don't think they're getting far. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, the Niners are just a team that's always been good for the past couple of years. And I think they're going to continue to be good, have a good regular season, make the playoffs, maybe win a round or two. But I'm just really not that big of a fan of them. I feel like last year and the year before, they had more like, I don't know how to explain it, but it just felt better. And now this year you're on year 3 and you still haven't won like a Super Bowl with 2 very good teams you had previously. Similar team. They paid Ayuk. Trent Williams is back now.
Yeah, I just saw that today. Trent Williams is back.
it's a similar team as last year. I don't not many changes at all. I just don't think they might. I mean, they could get back to Super Bowl. Realistically, it they're in that range, but I don't see them getting back. Honestly,
I agree with you. They are in the range. I mean, listen, they're one of the top teams in the league. Let's be real about that. But at the same time, my biggest concern is not necessarily their division. Because I mean, you figure the Rams are going to be okay. I think Seattle's better than people think, right? And I think that oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Help me
Arizona,
out here. What's that?
Arizona.
They stink. So it's really, in my opinion, three teams. I think the Rams will probably compete a little bit for a wild card. They're one of those teams that like can kind of be like sneaky good, you know.
Exactly. Yep.
I like the Seahawks a lot. I really do. I think they're primed to make a really serious deep run in the playoffs game, or just the playoffs in general. I think I really like what they've done with their head coach. I mean, not to say Pete Carroll wasn't a really good head coach. It's just, sometimes it's just time. Like
Yeah.
Pete
Exactly.
Carroll's, he's an old man. Like it's time to kind of get some new blood in there and kind of shake it up a little bit, and that's okay. And I love Kenneth Walker. I do. I think he's going to run. He might lead the league in rushing. Like, I mean, I think he's that good, and I think they're poised to really be a really good team. Like they're like low key got like really good weapons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
Metcalf is good. Okay, like I would say above average. He's not great, but he's very good. Lockett, Smith and Jigba. You got the tight end, and then you got two. I mean, Walker's a stud, and then Charbonnet's not terrible. So, and their line's okay. And Gino's not going to take you out of games either. Like Gino's not going to make a bad mistake where he's just going to say, okay, you know what? Maybe you're waiting for the Geno Smith interception. That's not going to happen. He's just a very solid quarterback. He's not going to kill you. He's not going to make you a mistake. He's solid. And I think that wins them over 10 games. I think they're a 10-7 or maybe an 11-16.
Yeah, at the beginning of the off season, I think I had the Rams higher than the Seahawks, but I feel like as the off season went on, it kind of switched, and I think the Seahawks kind of overtook them, and I
Right.
think they're the better team. I don't like what the Rams. I think they just traded one of the, like he was a really good linebacker. They traded Ernest Jones,
Yeah,
traded
they
him to
did.
the Titans, and it was like for nothing. I'm not that big of a fan of what the Rams doing. One injury to their offense, one of their best players with Kyle Puka Nakoa or
Yeah,
Tyron Williams. If one of them gets hurt, then their team's going to struggle on offense. So I'm just not liking it that much. I really like what Seahawks are doing. So I think if the playoffs are different this year, I think one change that could be is like Seahawks are in and Rams are out. I think that's realistic.
I agree. And listen, what scares me about the Rams is their defense stinks.
Yeah.
Their defense is not very good. I mean, you
Now it
take
got even worse.
yeah, and take your best player and he retires, and now you draft a guy that you think is going to fill his shoes. Great, but it's got a while. You got like a full year to kind of see that happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think the Rams are kind of stagnant. I think the Rams are kind of that 9-8, 8-9 kind of team. Battle for the last wild card spot. Maybe get in, maybe don't. Get a break here, break there. That might happen. I think they're one of those teams. I think Seattle's solid in. I think the 49ers win the division and then probably host the playoff. The 49ers to me are like they're due to lose a home playoff game. You know what I mean? Like it just for some reason it's just one of those things in my head where I'm like, it's going to happen. Like they're going to lose a home playoff game one of these days. And I think this year might be their year to do that because again, now what are you going to do? You paid IU, right? You're going to have to pay Purdy. You paid McCaffrey. You paid Kittle. You just paid Trent Williams. Like all these, you can't keep everybody. It's not possible. But this is the make or break year for the 49ers. And I think the coach, low key, the coach really needs to have a really good year because you can't get to a Super Bowl twice now and lose. You know what I mean? Like you can't do it. Like to me, you got to at least win one of them, and he still hasn't. So the coach, I don't like Shanahan in a big game. I never have. So that's just me. All
Yeah,
right,
I would 100% agree.
all right. Here we go. The moment of truth. The thing that you and I have been waiting to talk about forever, and here we are. The NFC East. All right, let's start at the bottom and work our way up. Let's get Washington out. Okay.
Yeah.
Who I think is going to be better than people think because people are sleeping on Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is that dude. Like, he's good, and they're just another probably good draft year away from being like competitive to the point where like I think they can take a couple of teams, above them from like a conference standpoint. So I think the NFC East, for lack of a better term, is going to be like it used to be. 4 teams that are highly competitive that are going to like really shake things up. Not this year, because I think Washington's still a year away, but I still think like in the years to come, like those 4 teams are going to be they're going to be beating each other up all the time.
Yeah, Washington, I still have them like lower than most NFC teams and most all the AFC East teams. I mean NFC East teams, but I think they just show a solid year this year. You draft good, have a good offseason. I think they're a playoff team possibly next year, and that wouldn't surprise me. I like what they've done so far, and I just want them. If they have a good draft, a good offseason, they show some promise this year. I think they're going to be a solid team to beat, and I think this year they're going to be a hard team to beat. You're going to have to fight to beat them, and I think that's good for them. That's a good sign for them in their future.
I agree. Listen, Jaden Daniels, he's a number 1. I like Terry McLaurin, but he's just one of those guys that's kind of like a possession guy. They need a playmaker on the outside. They don't have, and that to me is probably going to hold them back this year. I think their defense is better than people think. Their D line has always been very good. Even trading Sweat last year, they still have that solid core. I know Young's gone, but don't sleep on the Commanders. Like, to me, like they're one of those teams that like when you play them, you got to beat them. You know what I mean? You can't let them beat themselves.
Yep.
You got to legit beat them. Cowboys. I don't like what I see. I'm being honest with you. I don't. And you know what? Maybe call me a hater. I don't care. Because you know what? I've hated the Cowboys my whole life. But I'm trying to be objective, okay? You got Lamb. You got Prescott. Great. What else do they have? Seriously, like, what else do they have?
They really don't have anything. I mean, Ferguson's all right. Their offensive lines. I would say the offensive line isn't like – I think it's above average. I mean, It's a decent offensive line, but I just don't like their playmakers out of Lamb. I don't. I'm not a fan. I think Prescott had a good season last year, really good end of season. I just don't see him doing that again. I really don't. I would be surprised. He's always been a good regular season quarterback.
Yeah.
But, I don't know where all the targets are going to go in that offense other
Brandon
than
Cooks?
Lamb.
Yeah, you're going to Brandon Cooks? Like, hey, come on. Like, you're going to go to Ferguson?
Right.
They just traded Peyton Hendershot to the Chiefs. Like,
Exactly.
I actually liked him. Dude, you got, the body of Ezekiel Elliott. Like, he's not the same player he used to be.
And they just got Dalvin Cook too, right?
Yeah, Dalvin Cook. I mean, come on, Rico Dowdle, stop. Like, I mean, like, and listen, for as much as they got great players on defense, that defense struggles, dude. You know what I mean? You got Diggs coming back off an ACL. You got Micah Parsons, who's not happy. Let's be honest. Like, he wants a deal, and he hasn't got it, right? So you got him, and then to me, like, all right, you got Lawrence. He's another year older. You got some of these other guys. To me, I don't see it, dude. Like, I think they're going to be bad. Like, I really do. Like, I think McCarthy gets fired quick, and I think, like, they're going to stink. Like, I don't see how they win games. I really don't.
Yeah, and on defense, Bland just got injured. He's out like 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting – and they just won the NFC East last year, so their schedule is harder. It just – they're going to get wins that they probably don't deserve in the end. They'll still win, like, average, I think, in my opinion. But they're not going to be the explosive team that they were in previous years. I mean, they were good last year. They were pretty solid.
Yeah.
And then you go in the playoffs, they lose, and that's just season now. I don't think they did anything to improve. Their worst team. NFC got better overall.
I agree.
It's going to be hard to make the playoffs for any NFC team that isn't at the top.
I agree with you. I can't disagree with anything you just said, Nick. I can't. Okay. Here we are. We got 2 teams left, and we know which teams they are. Out of respect for you, because let's be real, the Eagles are a better team than the Giants right now. I can say that into a microphone. It's true. We'll do the Giants first. Fair?
Yep, fair.
All right. Here's my hot take. Giants making playoffs this year. Telling you right now, they're making playoffs. I just call me a homer. It's okay. They're better. And you know what? They're better. They're better in every single spot, maybe except quarterback, because he's just such an enigma, and you don't know what you're going to get from him. And when he's right, especially in 2022, I mean, they went to the playoffs and won a playoff. You saw what he did last year. He got hurt, wasn't very good. So you got Neighbors, who's going to be a star. Nick, let me tell you, like he's going to be a star. Like he's that good.
He's gonna be
Okay?
really good.
You want to compare Montgomery to Saquon Barkley? You look apples to apples, they're pretty much the same running back. Okay, when you look at their production, their yards, their touchdowns, their carries, it's the same guy. Okay, so yeah, Saquon got paid, great, good for him. Yeah, he went to the Eagles, great, good for him. They're better. The offensive line's better. You went out and traded for Brian Burns, who is a star pass rusher, to pair up with your soon-to-be star pass rusher in Thibodeau. You got bookends now, like you did in the old days with Strahan and Newman York, okay, and Justin Tuck. Dexter Lawrence is probably, in my opinion, if not the best, one of the best defensive tackles in the league. Okay. Bobby Okereke is a star as a middle linebacker. Something the Giants had in a very, very long time. Okay. Their secondary is very shaky to me. I like Banks. They just signed Dory Jackson, which scares me because that means to tell me they're concerned about a couple of places there. So I like Banks. I think the other guys are not that great. We'll see how that goes. Okay. But if they get to the quarterback, then you know what? Maybe that kind of solves a lot of their problems. The offense is going to need to score points. Okay. And you got a star in Neighbors on one side. You got a guy in Wan'Dale Robinson in the slot who I love that can get you those tough 10, 12 yards on those little bubble screens they like to run. Slayton has always been Jones's favorite target. I like Slayton a lot. Okay. You got Montgomery in the backfield who's going to give you those tough yards. Okay. Some of the tough yards that Saquon didn't give them. Let's keep it real. Okay. And you got a guy in Theo Johnson who I like too that drafted out of Penn State, which kind of a low key under the radar pick that they're going to try and get him involved some way, somehow. Listen, I don't think the Giants are winning the division. I don't think the Giants are going to, they're going to lose some games they probably should win. They're probably going to win some games they probably should have lost. But I think when it all washes out in the end, they're high-end 6, maybe a 7. That's their future. That's their ceiling to me. And then go, take your shot in the playoffs.
Yeah, the Giants, I think they had an interesting offseason. I actually like what they did. When you watch the Hard Knocks episodes, I think it made sense of why they didn't, re-sign Barkley. They improved the offensive line. They got replaced him with another running back. And then on defense, they were able to get Burns, improve that. I mean, their defensive line is really good. It's going to be top of the league, if not the best in the league. It's going to be hard. Any team's going to struggle to defend all three of them. I like the Theo Johnson pick at tight end. I actually think he's gonna be pretty good in the end. I actually always liked him, watching Penn State.
Yeah.
I think that is under radar pick. The Giants, I just don't know where to exactly put them. I think
quarterback, Nick. It's all on the quarterback. Like if the
all
quarterback
because
has a good year, then they're good. If he doesn't, then they're going to be really bad. It's on him.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's well said. Exactly what I think. It depends on Jones. If Jones has a just decent year, 2022 year, they're going to make the playoffs, 100%.
Yes. Yeah.
If he's like last year, he struggles, they're going to miss the playoffs. They're going to need a quarterback in the offseason. But if they're also bad this year, you get a quarterback. If you find that quarterback, I think you're going to set up a good future.
Agreed.
Even if Daniel Jones has a good year, just has a good year, but he's still inconsistent overall, I feel like in the future, that might hurt you. If he shows signs of promise, like good signs, but then, still struggles in year, like next year, just say he's like, all right again, it's going to hurt your future a little bit. So
I really think, Nick, regardless of how well or how bad Jones plays, this is his last year with the team. They have an out in the contract where they want to get out of the contract, right? They can. And I think they will. But I also think that they're building something under the radar. They have a young nucleus of really, really good players. And I think you got to give Shane credit for that. And to your point about Barkley watching the Hard Knocks, it could have been anybody. It just happened to be Saquon Barkley of where he was picked and who he was and all that stuff. And I get that. Okay. They're not committing that much money to a running back. They're not. They don't believe in it, and that's okay. And you know what? I think that's the right decision, the way running backs are treated now. I hate to say it because it's not fair to those guys, especially the really good ones that deserve that money. But I'm not, as a general manager, like I'm not committing that kind of money to a running back unless you're like Christian McCaffrey. I'm not doing it, So, and even that, like, there's a lot of tread on those tires, man. Like, to me, like that scares me. So I'm in the camp of I'm okay with Barkley walking. You know what I mean? And yeah, of all the places he had to go to the Eagles, right? So okay, but I take it out of the equation. The man got his money. That's what he wanted. Good for him. Everybody moves on, which kind of transitioned us into your team. So the floor is yours, kid.
Yeah, so the Eagles, I think, talking about, let's just go with Saquon first. They never gave money to running backs, really. Never. It was never the thing except DeMarco Murray. And then once they got him, I mean, he was terrible. And then after that, they never really cared about the running back that much. In 2017, when they won the Super Bowl, they had like Blount, they had Ajayi, two solid guys, but they weren't making top of the league money like Barkley is. So it was interesting that they got Barkley. Honestly, I didn't think they were going to. And then, I'm glad they did it in the end. I mean, look at their offense. You got Barkley, Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and then they went out and got Dotson for a third-round pick, and then they got back like a fifth or something. But I think Dotson was a really good pickup because, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, they're going to constantly the defense is always going to have their eyes on them. But if they can get that third guy, just get him open and find what works with him. I mean, he's gonna be such a solid wide receiver 3. He is. And then you have Goddard on top of that. I mean, it's just such a good offense. I think Kellen Moore can really just run the offense, run it smoothly, be creative, be different than what they were doing last year. Last year's offense was terrible. Terrible. And your offensive line, it's downgraded from last year. You don't have Kelsey, but Mekhi Becton hasn't looked bad in camp and stuff. So, and Jorgens is moving to center. I think they drafted him for the future, and now he's there at center. So offense is great. I think they're going to be a top 3 offense, easy.
Where do they have Mekhi Becton playing?
They have him at right guard.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
It's interesting, but
that is very interesting
because he's really big overall, and he's at guard. But yeah, so I like their offense. I like the Becton signing actually. I didn't think it was we didn't have much depth there, and Becton came in and really just filled that spot. And I think it works out. I think it's gonna be solid. And on defense, it was terrible last year. And bringing in Vic Fangio, I wasn't the biggest fan of bringing him in because I feel like his defense it's different than how the league is now overall. It's an old defense. It's a lot of I don't know. I feel like people still get open in that type of defense. I don't know if it's gonna work with Slay and whoever else they put out at cornerback, but the defense is gonna be better overall. I don't know if it can be worse than last year. Linebackers still didn't improve that much. I mean, they got better. Devin White's all right. They drafted Jeremiah Trotter Jr., which he showed signs. And they signed someone from the Saints, Zach Vaughn or whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's under the radar guy. But the D line, it's not similar as last year. I mean, you got rid of Reddick, but then you brought in what's his name? What's his name? Huff. There you go. And then they drafted Edge in the 3rd round. So defensive line still the same. I mean, you lost Fletcher Cox, but I don't think he did much really last year. I mean, it was about time for him to retire. And safeties, I think they improved the safeties. I mean, you got CJ Gardner-Johnson back. You have Reed Blankenship. It's a good safety. It's an average safety group. But I think they improved on defense. I don't think they're going to be top of the league defense. They're going to be average. The defense is going to lose the games overall. I think that's going to happen. But as long as the defense shows promise and they show that they can play tough and hard for the playoffs, I think that's all that matters. I think they're gonna be a solid team. Um, I think they're in competition for the best in the NFC. Um, but yeah, I think it's Super Bowl bust this year. I mean, you can't lose in the playoffs again or the Super Bowl. You have to win. With the team you have, there's just no way.
Jobs are on the line, Nick. Honestly, I think Sirianni's obviously on the hot seat. I think he's the guy right now. If things go bad, he's the first one off the ship. I really believe
Yep.
that. So I'm going to kind of take what you said and kind of, I guess, more or less kind of, I'm not even going to try and say that word. Let's start with the offense. They have the best group of skill position players in anybody in the league. Period. And that's it. Like it's just top to bottom from a skill position standpoint, they are loaded. Okay. Which leads me to believe the AJ Brown fact. Okay. If he's not getting the ball, he's going to be upset. You got a lot of guys going around that you need to get the ball to. Devontae Smith, Barkley, Goddard, okay, Jahan Dotson, whatever. But if AJ Brown's not getting the ball, we saw it last year, he blows up. Okay. That's a factor. And that falls on the coach. And if the coach can't control that, then that's another reason why the coach probably shouldn't be there. Okay.
I agree. Yep.
The defense. I watched a lot of Jeremiah Trotter Jr., and he looks exactly like his dad, which scares me, because I still have nightmares of Jeremiah Trotter as an Eagle, his father, killing Tiki Barber or killing everybody else that, we had, over the years. The secondary scares me, and listen, I know Bradbury's out for a while, but you got Slay, but who's the other guy on the other side, So I think the middle of the field is gonna be wide open on that defense. I really do. They better get to the quarterback. Huff better have a big year, because if he doesn't, then I don't see again. You're gonna be playing a lot of shootout games. It's gonna be a lot of 35-31, 38-30, whatever. And like that. And those games, you can only win so many of those games, I think the Eagles are at a really big crossroads right now. All right. And I'm gonna kind of really take the hatred I have for the team out of this and really talk almost like objective. Okay. They need to really make a decision on this coach. And I think the problem is they should have never brought him back. And I think that is going to be something that maybe is going to be a storyline throughout the whole year with them because they are, if not the most talented, they're one of the most talented teams in this league, top to bottom. Okay. They are. I mean, you see how good they can be when they're right? You don't just get off to a 10-1 start like by accident. You know what I mean? You don't go to Kansas City and beat the Chiefs by accident. Like you don't do that. And Hurts to me is better than people think. I know a lot of people are not a big fan of him. I love Jalen Hurts. I've always liked Jalen Hurts even back in Alabama days. Like I love the kid. I think he's a really, really good player. And I think he's very underrated for what he can do. Okay. And he showed me a lot in that Super Bowl game too against Kansas City. He basically almost won that game by himself for them. And that to me is something that, should not be forgotten in all this. I really truly feel that as good as the Eagles are, is as good as the Eagles are probably going to blow up. Because I think you saw signs of it last year. And I think honestly, I think that's why Kelsey decided to retire. I think he had enough. I didn't think he wanted to. He kind of read the room a little bit and realized, you know what? Like if this is coming back, I don't want to come back. And I don't like the vibe. I just don't. And listen, they're going to kill my team twice. I mean, let's be honest. They are. They have like some sort of like, they just kill the Giants. They do. I mean, it's kind of won a game in them. I mean, they won. I think they won the last year, but it's been a while. It's been a while since both teams are really good too. So you, my family, everybody that asked me about the Eagles, and I try to talk objectively about this and kind of take, like I said, all that aside. I'm worried. I really am. Like I'm worried, and I think even me being worried, I still think they're the best team, and I still think they're going to win the division, and I still think they're going to be very good. But what happens when you play the 49ers? Like what happens when you play Detroit? What happens when we play Green Bay? Like, what's going to happen there? So to me, it would really tell me something if they go mid-season and say bye bye Nick Sirianni. That would probably change my thought process.
Yeah, I think a lot of Eagles fans' biggest worry is Nick Sirianni. I mean, the fan base is still so split on him. I'm not the biggest fan of him. I mean, something like last season just couldn't happen. I mean, they were 10-1. Hurts was playing with like an MVP year. I mean, still he was throwing interceptions, but he was still playing so good. And you just fall. I mean, you lose what 6 out of the last 7
Yeah,
games.
I
I
mean,
mean,
it
that
was
just can't
bad.
happen.
It was bad, dude. It was bad. I remember
They
you
were
and I
the
were
worst team.
talking about it. Like you
Yeah.
were just like beyond, like you were losing your mind. And I'm like, what do you want me to tell you? Like I don't know what the problem is. So, but I think we all know the problem's the coach. I really believe that the problem's the coach.
Yeah, I mean, last year, if something like that happens this year again, I mean, it's gonna ruin the fan base. It's gonna ruin the franchise overall. And if it starts early, they got to do something with Sirianni easily. I mean, if they lose a couple games early on and they just don't look better than last year, they're gonna have to do something with Sirianni. And it's probably for the better for the team. Um, overall, I mean, the worst case is something like last year happens again, and it would ruin the franchise. It
I
really
agree.
would.
I agree. Totally agree. All right, we'll leave it at that. All right, let's prediction time. All right, give me the AFC Championship, give me the NFC Championship, and then give me a Super Bowl winner. Let me hear.
All right, so my AFC pick would, I don't know. I actually think the Jets make it. I do.
I do
I
too.
I just like what they have. I really do. I think they're both sides of the ball. They're really good. They're just a really good team. It's gonna be hard to beat Rodgers, and this is one of Rodgers' final year, and it could be his final. And I think he's gonna get another Super Bowl before he retires, and I think this is gonna be the year. I I just see it.
Oh, you're picking the Jets to win the Super Bowl?
I'm not picking them to win though,
Okay, all right,
but
all
I
right.
think
You think they
I
get
think I think they get there.
Okay,
But
okay,
I think Rodgers aims for the other Super Bowl, another Super Bowl.
okay.
NFC, I really hate picking the Eagles to win it,
Kind of have to, you know.
but I have to. Yeah, exactly. I think the Eagles get there. I mean, I just think they have a season similar to 2022. I don't think, you know, things aren't going to clear on Sirianni, but I think the overall the team's going to push Sirianni away a little bit. He's not going to run that team that much. I really don't. I think they're going to get guys to lead the team better. I think Hurts is going to be a better leader, and they're going to go out there and fight, and I think they're going to win it. I do. I think the Eagles win the Super Bowl. I mean, I hate doing it and picking them, but I feel like I have to. With
I,
the Jets
I get it. I
losing,
get it.
but I think Rodgers wants that other ring. I don't know if he gets it, but that's my pick. Eagles.
Let me tell you something right now. If that happens, I would be the biggest Aaron Rodgers fan that day. You'd have thought I'd root for the Jets my whole life. Like I might have to go buy an Aaron Rodgers jersey. You know what I mean? So I might have to do something. But yeah. All right. Here's my take. I think the Chiefs beat the Jets in the AFC Championship game. Okay. I think the Lions beat the Packers in the NFC Championship game. I think the game is going to be in Green Bay too. I think the Lions go on the road and beat them. And I think we get the three-peat. I think the Chiefs beat the Lions in the Super Bowl. I think the Lions are going to struggle right off the gate. I don't think the first 4 weeks are probably going to be very bad for them. But I feel like once October hits, they're going to figure something out and they're going to be a juggernaut the rest of the way. I love Green Bay. I think I'm a huge fan of Jordan Love. I like what they're building there, but the coach is a guy that can never win you a big game. Okay, I'm on with the Jets. Like I'm all in on the Jets for the most part. I think they're going to get there. I think they get to at least a title game. Chiefs are too good. Like they're getting better. Dude, I'm telling you, Xavier Worthy is going to be a star. Like with Mahomes, I mean, come on. Like, I mean, he couldn't have gone to a better team. And like I love their attitude, I love their makeup, and I'm rooting for something that's never happened. So I'm going Chiefs three-peat. That's my prediction. And we get at it on Thursday, baby. Right?
Yep.
I love it. And then Friday. What's up with the Eagles uniforms? They're wearing black helmets, wearing like a black and white thing.
Yeah, they're wearing black helmets, white jerseys, and black pants.
Okay.
I think it's to represent the team that plays there in that actual stadium because they're considered the Eagles are considered the home team.
Okay.
So I think that's where they're getting it from. And then the Packers are still wearing the green, whatever they're wearing.
Yeah, whatever the normal get. Okay.
Yeah. So, but it kind of those colors kind of represent a rival, like so it kind of matches up with that Brazil theme. So I think that's the reason they're doing that. So it should be a fun game though.
I can't wait, dude. I can't wait for football. I can't wait for Thursday. I can't wait for Friday. I can't wait for Sunday. Like, we're in, bro. Like, this is it. We're ready to rock. Let's get it. All right, man. Listen, we're back in this thing. You know, let's keep going. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. See you.
All right, later.
That's right, guys. We're back here on the All Around. I'd like to thank once again my co-host, my main man, Nick Rosselli. You got a hot take over there. A couple of hot takes you heard. Hey, listen, I'm on it. You know, I kind of agree with him about the Jets. I mean, you heard what I said about them. I think they get to the AFC Championship game. I think they lose to the Chiefs. And, you know, truth be told, I guess more or less I'm rooting for the three-peat because it's never happened. You know, Mahomes is such an easy guy to root for too. He really is. And like, take all the Kelsey Swift nonsense out of the way. That's irrelevant to me. You know, but Mahomes is one of these guys, okay, that when you really think about it, you kind of really like dive into it. He can retire tomorrow and still be considered in the top 3 best quarterbacks ever. Think about that for a second. He's not even 30 years old yet, you know, and he probably has another, you know, maybe let's be kind of, you know, on the safe side here. 8 years left. You know, he probably plays as long as he wants, and if he's as healthy as he wants to be, then God bless him. I hope he plays 15 more years. But the problem with Mahomes, and I know I've said this a bunch of times, but I'm going to say it again right now. The only way you're going to catch Brady is if you do something no one's ever done. And if you can win 3 in a row, that puts you on a level that is your argument to basically say he's the greatest ever. With outside of maybe Joe Burrow, in my opinion, who can beat him? Who can look him in the eye and beat him? Rodgers? I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't trust that. You know, like, I love Jared Goff. Don't get me wrong. And listen, I picked the Lions, but you're going to stare Mahomes in the face and beat him? I don't know. Lamar Jackson, forget it. Like, I think that they're so psyched out with the Chiefs. Like, I think the Chiefs kill them Thursday. I really do. I think that game's not going to be close. But you go up and down. You look at all the quarterbacks. Like, unless there's somebody coming that, like, you know, we're not talking about, like a C.J. Stroud maybe. You know, I'm very high on Jaden Daniels. I think he's going to be really, really good, which, you know, kind of stinks because he's in our division for the next 10 years. But, again, like, who's the guy? It's not in their division. You know, it's not. I mean, is it in the conference? Maybe. I mean, Josh Allen? No. Like, I think the Bills are going to stink. I don't know. Like, again, think about this. Like, you really kind of do your homework and think about who's the guy that can look Mahomes in the eye and beat him. Right now, I don't think anybody can. I really don't. I don't think anybody can. You know, and, you know, I don't know how or who. But you know what? This is the best part about the NFL. This is the best part about football in general. And it doesn't even have to be like the NFL. There's something about being at a football game. Like, even at like the youth level, there's just a different kind of energy there. High school games, you feel it kind of ratchet up a little bit more. And then the college atmosphere just takes it to a whole other level. And I've only been to a few. And it's really more like, you know, local around me with Rutgers. So Lord only knows what the atmosphere is when you go across the country and that's all they care about is college football. I'm sure it's amazing. And then you got the NFL, which to me, I think the NFL experience is at your house. I think the NFL experience is your being around your family or the people you want to be around, your loved ones, whoever that is, and just sitting there talking about football, watching what's going on, and enjoying the atmosphere. There's nothing better. And listen, I love baseball. I love basketball. But that whole vibe, you can't replace that. It's so great. It really is so great. And, you know, best of luck to all the teams this weekend playing, you know, especially the youth football guys. Your high school footballs out there. I mean, I hope you guys are all, you know, get off to some good starts. And we're going to have a couple of high school football guests on too, you know, throughout the course of the, you know, the season. I'm going to try and drop as many as I can. I can't promise 2 a week, and I want to, but it's the way life is, man. You know, between, you know, being a husband, being a dad, working, it's hard, but you know what? I'll do the best I can to try and get you 2 a week. And if I can, I will. And if I can't, you know, I'll do my darndest to try to. Let's put it that way. All right, guys, it's going to wrap things up for episode 13 of the All Around Sport Podcast. We will check you out with episode 14. Might be some surprises coming. You don't know, but there might be. Stay tuned. All right, let's talk about our sponsors one more time. Jump Shot Gym, a one-of-a-kind training basketball facility located in beautiful Hillsborough, New Jersey. We have 8 hoops and the Dr. Dish shooting machines. Get all those reps you need to build that consistent jump shot. Visit jumpshotgym.com. One more time, jumpshotgym.com for information on shooting clinics, camps, and parties. Also, if you're looking for any type of repair or any contract you need for your home and your business, contact Brazina Home Improvements at 609-581-5848. Once again, 609-581-5848. You want to contact me, you want to talk to me, shoot me an email, you want to sponsor the show, you want to do anything, you know, have some critiques about the show, whatever you want to talk about. jm14productions@gmail.com. jm14productions@gmail.com. And follow us on Instagram. That's important. jm14 all around pod. Tell your friends. That's all I'm going to say. Guys, thank you all so much. It's great to be back. I feel great. It's awesome. And we'll see everybody on the other side. Take care.